Hello YouTube. So I've run into a spot of trouble with one of my 3D printers here. I had a bad clog and I went to disassemble the hot end to pull the PTFE tube, as is usually the solution to clogs, replacing the tube. But as I pulled the tube, let's see if we can get some focus here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's actually, the tube has been removed. I've removed the nozzle underneath, and then it left a bit of plastic in the heat break, and that's stuck in there really good. I tried heating the hot end to 250 degrees and let it sit for half an hour, but the heat break didn't get hot enough to melt the plastic. So I need to find some other way of heating it. An issue is that I can't actually get the heat break out without disassembling this whole thing, because it's not actually able to be pulled, as far as I know. It has to go up the top. So we need to disassemble this whole thing here. First of all, let's get rid of the part cooling fan that's just in the way right now. So we'll get rid of that first of all. It's just 2 screws here. That's stuck inside. There we go. So that's out of the way. Then we have a couple of screws underneath we can remove, if I can get access. Probably need a different wrench. One moment. Okay, we have a different tool. So we're just gonna try removing these 2 screws that's underneath. I know you can't see it, but there's 2 screws down here. One on each side of the heat block. See if this is loose enough now. There we go. And on the other side, that's a bit harder to get to. Let's get rid of the stepper motor. Get that out of the way. Let's see if we can get in here. There's a lot of wires and stuff in the way right now. I see the whole thing moving now. Come on, get in there. Oh, got my... Oh, it did actually go out the bottom. I didn't want to before. Anyway, now we have the heat block out. Then we have the next probe. Oh, it does actually screw out. I thought I was going to have to heat it to remove the heat break. So we've got the heat break. Let's just have a look inside the nozzle. It looks clean and fine. While I'm at it, I'm just going to remove this insulation, because I actually have some silicone blocks, sleeves. That's a lot better than this stuff. So just kind of want to get rid of that if I can. Might need a knife to remove that. I'll just get rid of that. So that's gone off the heat block. There's a little bit stuck in where the thermistor is mounted, but that's okay. And I've got these little blocks here that go over it, see, this way around, and then just insulate it like this, and then it's easy to remove. because you need to get a good grip on the heat block when you if you want to remove the nozzle, and that's hard with that original insulation that just crumbles. Anyway, we're done with this part for now. So we've moved that out of the way and moved down here. Let's see what we can do about this nozzle. Now I will obviously need to heat it, so what I'm thinking is I'm going to take the soldering iron, set it to maximum temperature, and just kind of jam it in one end, and then heat the whole thing, and then get something to push out the plastic that's in here. Now, of course, it would be easier to just put in a new heat break. It's probably like less than $1, but I don't have one on hand and I want to get the print up and running again. So we're gonna try this. Okay, so I just remembered that silicone thing I put on the nozzle over here. That's called a silicone sock, I think. If you search for that on Amazon or eBay or whatever, you should find them if you want one. Anyway, the soldering iron should be about up to temperature now, and I know this is probably going to be a little bit noisy if I get close to the soldering iron. It tends to make noise in the mic. The transformer kind of interferes, but anyway, I've got something to hold this thing. So let's just get that in place, and then we're going to try just sticking the soldering iron in there and hold it there for some time. See, it's already smoldering. Is there? Yeah, I think I actually got a little bit of plastic on the soldering iron tip there. So now we just wait. And I've got a little pokey bit. This comes with the Wanhao printers. And let's just see if we can. And it's not hot enough yet. It's not getting soft. Might have to do it from the other end. Of course, I'm sending a lot of heat into this these pliers as well, so that will be means it'll take longer to get it up to temperature. But just gonna try and be patient here, and I'll just speed this up in edit if it takes way too long. Still not. Now it's getting soft. Let's just see if we can get this shit out of there. Let's see. Now we've got a lot of the plastic that was in there. I just gotta remember I've got a hot soldering iron right here. Might have to heat it up again. There's still shit stuck in there. Just try and give it another go from the other end. See if we can get some more. You can see there's at least one. It's a little bit more. Starting to look fairly clean. I mean, it doesn't have to be 100% clean because we're gonna put the tube in there anyway. So it doesn't have to be perfectly clean. It just needs to be clean enough that we can get the tube in there actually. And then maybe we'll also have a look at the nozzle, because that might not be. Yeah, I should really replace it, but I looked and I've actually bought some nozzles and it doesn't look like they actually fit. They're wrong size. Anyway, they were cheap, so that's not a big loss, but yeah. Let's see if we can get this stuff off of here. Give it one last go here. Yeah, I think it's about there. Let's try putting a new piece of tubing in there to see if it's clean enough that we can push it all the way in. So I bought these sets. They're actually like for something like the Ender 3 with the these connecting thingies. I don't need those for my printer, but it was just it was actually the cheapest way to get the tubing when I looked. So it's a bit of a tight fit, to be honest. I think I can push it in there, yeah. Yeah, it does go in there. So I just need to figure out how big of a piece of tubing we need to cut. Let's see, just need to find a nozzle. I think I have it right here. We might just do the same thing with the soldering iron as we did with the other one, or the heat break, just to make sure that's fairly clean-ish. Because there might be a lot of crud and stuff down in there. Can probably push it out if it's not too bad, so let's just heat that a little bit. There we go. Let's see if this pulls anything out of there. Yeah, there was some dirt in there. What I think went wrong here is that the PTFE tube that was in there originally was actually a bit too short. So it could kind of move up and down, and then the plastic could get in directly contact with the sides of the heat break and stuff. And then down in the nozzle it's not a big issue because it just melts and the extruder is able to push it out. But up in the heat break where it's cold, and let's say you do a retraction move, you get a bit of molten plastic up there, and then it solidifies and it tries to push it out the other end, and then it's not able to. That's my theory anyway of what went wrong here, because I have never had a clog this bad on my this is on the Maker Select. I've never had it that bad on the Wanhao. So I kind of think that's, yeah. It's kind of like honestly, I mean, I bought these printers 1.5 years. Bought the Maker Select 1.5 years later, and maybe the quality control has gone down a little bit, something like that. At least it didn't seem, there's still a lot of stuff in there. I'll get this cleaned out and then we'll try reassembling in it and see if we've fixed the problem here. Okay, so I've got that cleaned out. Now, to make sure we got the right size of tubing, I'll go in here. What I've just done is I've taken my calipers and use the depth measuring mechanism here and put that inside this and inside the nozzle. I won't touch the nozzle right now because it's quite hot, but and this is about 2.4 centimeters and then 1.1 in this, I think, or was it 2.6? Let's just double check. So just get that down there, see how far this goes. So that says 1.143-ish. And this says 2.4. So if you combine those, we need 3.56 millimeters. Just about, so let's set it to that. Just under 3.6. Pushed it right there. So we'll take our tube and see that it's supposed to be cut right about here. Let's use the flush side. So we'll go like that. And just make sure this isn't too squeezed together here. So we'll just get this through here. It's squeezed a little bit by the cutting action, so we'll just make sure it's got the right shape. Let's check the length. That's maybe a little bit too long, especially because the cut isn't totally square. Just trim the edges a little bit. So what happens now if we put this in here? Let's see if this is cooled down. Yeah, I can touch it. So I think that's too long actually. We'll just see how far we can push it. Yeah, it won't go in there. Maybe this is too long. At least I can't push it in there. I thought I cleaned it out decently well, but it's just like this. The diameter of this is a little bit tighter than the heat break, so I can't quite get it in there. Let's just see if we can get this to sit there. Maybe there's a little bit of help. Yeah, that won't go in there. Let's try twisting it on. Yeah, that's better. A lot better. So this is definitely too long. So I don't know. Either I didn't do my math right, or I'm not sure what went wrong. But you can see we need to remove half a centimeter maybe for this to have any success here. So I probably didn't do my measurements right. So the actual length is more like 3 centimeters. Let's just get that out of there. Cut off half a centimeter here. And try again. Because when the heat break and the nozzle is screwed together inside the heat block, they should come together like this. If it's fully tightened, at least that's the theory. So let's hope it does that. So we're gonna try reassembling it. Get this in with a bit of twisting action. And that looks about right. There we go. That's a lot better. I can see it actually still got a little bit of plastic stuck here, so I might have to clean this again. Didn't get it all out there. But seems like it's probably the right length now. So I'll just get this cleaned up entirely, and then we can reassemble it and test it out. So I've got it all put back together again, and as you can see, we're printing fine now. Although I did clog it one more time as I was testing it out. And well, I think I figured out what's happening, why it's clogged, why it clogged in the first place. What was happening when I was changing filament and I pulled the filament, then some of the molten filament from the bottom got kind of caught at the top of the heat break, and then if you weren't quick to either flush it out with one of these, I don't have it right here, but that plunger tool to get it out of there, or put in a new filament right away, then it would solidify and clog up the top of the heat break. And I think I've never really had much of a problem with that, but it might be due to this modification with the guide in here that's in there to be able to better print flexible filaments. It might have something to do with that. If you want to know more about that upgrade, I have a separate video. I'll throw in a card. I think that goes up in the top corner there. So I'll link to that video. Otherwise, it seems like it's printing fine now. Of course, now that I adjusted or disassembled and reassembled the nozzle or the whole heating assembly, I had to fiddle around with the C offset for my BL touch sensor, which is also in a separate video, which I'll link again. But I had to readjust that. But after all that got done, then yeah, seems like we're back to printing. And to fix that second clog I got, I knew now that I had put in a new PTFE tube, so I just took the soldering iron directly to the top while everything else was still assembled, got it loose, and then flushed it out or pushed it out. Rather than disassembling the whole thing again, because right now I know the tube in there is good. So yeah, that was that little repair video. Kind of sucks when stuff like that happens, because it just takes up a lot of time to fix it, but I mean, it's totally doable. So yeah, that's it for now. Like and subscribe if you liked the video, and until next time, take care.